All right, we got two of our 308 long-range rifles. Okay, everybody has been checking out the new Savage Ashbury. This thing's pretty sweet. I just shot it myself. We'll check it out in a couple minutes. And then Ruger Precision, been out for a little bit. If you look at them side by side, they look pretty similar. Okay, but they're completely different rifles. Okay, both of them got side folders on their stocks, but there's a big difference there. With the Ashbury, you can fold it with the bolt still in, and then this one, you got to fold it with the bolt forward. And if I'm smart enough to find out where it is, there it is, right there. And that's how you can take the bolt out right there. Okay, the Ashbury is different, but if you look at this one, the bolt actually goes into the stock, as opposed to the Ashbury being more of a traditional style going over the stock. So this kind of borrows a little bit from like an AR-15 kind of lineage. If you can see, it's very close to an AR-15. That the bolt goes back into the stock, but it'll come right back out as soon as you can hit the release on the side. Right there, bolt comes out, super easy. I think this is the Gen 2 that they came out with. The first one had a lot of problems that Ruger went through and corrected. One of the notable things is it comes stock pretty much with all this furniture. It's been outfitted with Harris bipod. And what kind of stock did you put on there?
It's a Nikon scope.
A Nikon P308 scope. Okay, so obviously those aren't going to come with the gun, but you can easily put those on. But everything else is stock. The stock itself with the adjustable cheek comb riser. All you do is flip that down, and it'll go up and down, however you want. They improved these on the first model. These used to be super flimsy. They would come loose real easy, get snagged in your clothing. It was a big problem. But they beefed them up quite a bit. They don't break off now. It's nice and solid, and it holds in real tight. And it's just as simple if you want to change out your length of pull too. Okay, so all you do is you flip that out. And it's kind of stiff, but it'll move. But all you gotta do is just loosen it up on that track. And then you tighten it back up with that knob. Then you reset it, and it'll bite down on it and hold it. It'll take P-mags, it'll take Springfield M1A mags. So it's actually pretty universal. It's a little bit nicer than the Mini 14. The Mini 14 you can only get Ruger mags, but I think Ruger got smart about this one and they changed it out so you can put different mags in there, which is nice. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to get different kind of mags for it. But anyway, with the Ashbury, like we were talking about, you can easily just fold that stock for carry. The bolt does not go inside of it, it goes above it, which me personally, I prefer that. It's actually pretty nice. The system for changing up the stock is a little bit simpler. Okay, if you want to collapse it, all you do is you press that in. There it goes. And that'll lock it in. Okay, press that down to move it, lock it. 100 yards out. So let's go ahead and ring it a couple times. See how smooth that bolt is on there? Just smooth as butter. I'm going to rack out a couple of them just to show you how smooth this thing is. Boom. Boom. Just super smooth. And I'll show you some live fire too. Ooh, that's a good hit. Man, that's a good hit. Boom. This thing's a dead ringer. Even if it is just sighted in at 100, I'm hitting pretty much the same spot on there without even trying. You saw how quick those shots were. It's just such a smooth rifle. There's no recoil whatsoever. That muzzle brake is a huge help. That pretty much just knocks everything off of there. But with such a straight rifle like this, it just lines right up, and it's just almost perfection. You put that pistol grip on there, it gives you a good way to grip it, pull it right back in your shoulder. You don't even got to think twice about it. Now if you check it out here on the side over here, if you want to be safe about it between shots, okay, so you put one down and then you want to flip it on and safe. A lot of people who are shooting AR-15s, they're going to find this very familiar, because if you look at the rifle, it's basically the same thing, just it's a bolt gun design, and they just cleaned it up a whole lot, and it is just such a smooth shooter. Now if you look down here in the trigger, you got the Ruger Precision trigger. All right, they pretty much stole that from Savage, the Accu trigger, Well, Ruger went in, they did their own refinements. This thing broke at maybe 1.5 pounds. Super crisp. You don't even think about shooting, and if you're a guy who likes to be surprised when you're shooting, that'll do it. No creep whatsoever. Very crisp trigger. Let's take another shot with this thing. Yeah. Boom. And she's empty. So if you're one of those kind of guys like me who hates putting the bolt down on an empty chamber and it going click on you, this gun's kind of nice, because as you can see, the magazine, it'll have a bolt stop right there. As soon as it goes dry on you, you're not feeding anything else, so you already know when you're dried out. So just drop your mag out, load a couple rounds back in there. Let's take a couple of them that I cranked out already. It'll spit right back in there. Back in. Super smooth bolt. The cleanup they did on this rifle is just outstanding. I liked it before. Problem is, with the first generation I shot with, it tended to have a wandering zero. So especially when that barrel started heating up, it was a thinner barrel, and the one I tested out was actually was profiled down. That may have played a part in it, but you can see this got a nice thick barrel on there, and it helps out with the barrel harmonics. And when it starts heating up, your groups are not going to open up. When we go down and check out that steel, you're going to see I hit pretty much the same spot every single time. And we're talking about taking 1-second shots. So this thing makes 100 yards almost a joke. When we take route a little bit further, we can shoot smaller things. We'll really have our fun with it. A lot of power coming out of those rounds. But most impressive part is just the insane groupings without even putting any effort into it. All right, so here's the one that I really like, the Ashbury. So my buddy dressed this gun up a little bit more than the other one, because the other one pretty much came stock with everything that you needed, including the muzzle brake. He had to get an aftermarket 2-stage muzzle brake on this, and I'll tell you, I shot this thing before he put the muzzle brake on there, and it thumped you. Okay, he put this thing on there, and you're about to see it. This thing just shoots like you're shooting a 22. It's insane. Like I said, I actually prefer this one, just the way it feels, the way it shoots, and it's a hell of a shooter. Anyway, so it's a Savage, and there it is again, that AccuTrigger. This is the original from Savage. Then Ruger worked their magic, you know. Anyway, we already talked about that. So let's talk magazines. This one's a single stacker, all right, AI, Accuracy International PMags. It's a single stacker, right, 10 rounds, versus the shorter Ruger box magazine. It's a double stacker. We did get a couple double feeds out of this that kind of didn't expect, but we'll see how the Ashbury does. With a single stacker, you usually don't get misfeeds or anything like that. So I don't think we'll have any problems with this. Well, it's enough talk. I gotta shoot this thing. Now one thing you'll notice, the bolt throw is a little bit higher than the Ruger. I don't like that because you got to go this extra travel on there, but it's super smooth, and it's this nice big fat bolt handle on there. You just get all this purchase on it. You just grab a hold of that sucker and you know you got it. You're not going to be sliding off of that at all, but super easy to manipulate. But some people like a higher throw. I prefer a shorter throw. Not a big deal. It's all preference. I guess that'll contribute to why it wouldn't be as smooth as a Ruger, because you got that extra little bit of travel. You got to move it up that little bit more. But yeah, I guess that's where the Ashbury kind of takes second place to the Ruger. Other than that, though, it just makes shooting boring because it just puts it right on target every single time. Rings that steel without even thinking about it. We're just taking a couple cursory shots, obviously, with these two. Just bringing it down on the steel at about 100 yards. Shooting a 3/4 size man target isn't all that impressive, especially when it comes down to these rifles. We're going to follow up with what these things can really do. Alright guys, we're just going to go straight out to a $175. We got the Savage, we got the Ruger back up. We're going to start off with the plate, see how they do grouping, and then we're going to move on to a little bit more interesting things. There it is. That's where I want to be. The hood of the car is bouncy as hell. You're not going to get any kind of real accuracy out of there. So let's go prone with it and see how we do. That's 3 shots at the head. They all hit pretty much the same place. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Alright, let's see how the Savage does now.
What Frank's shooting here is the Glock 26 with the Prudent IWB. Those have adjustable straps if you want, but again, open top design and very concealable. Comfortable, Frank?
Absolutely.
Very comfortable.